I just saw 28 Years Later, the third installment in Danny Boyle's post-apocalyptic zombie film franchise. I don't want to ruin the movie. I don't want to give away any spoilers. You should go see it. It was pretty good if you're into that genre. But what I wanted to talk about is the theme that is common, that kind of permeates these types of stories. And that's the human ability to adapt, to persevere, to be resilient in the face of hardships. And what makes the story interesting is that there's not necessarily a whole lot of preparation beforehand. I mean, you might get some backstory on the character, but it's usually the situation that they're in that builds them up. And I look at what's going on in the world. I mean, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom or invoke any sense of fear, but you can't help but look around and say, okay, maybe times are a little hairy right now. There's nothing wrong with pointing that out. If anything, it's liberating because it allows you to come up with ways to become self-reliant. And on the other end of being self-reliant is being reliant on others through convenience. There's nothing wrong with relying on your fellow man, but that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. See, this morning I took a really nice shower. All I had to do was turn a little knob and clean water came out. To get to the film, I walked on a well-paved sidewalk and walked by a whole lot of people that were mowing their lawns. It's good times. But what if something kind of flips that on its side and people are no longer able to do these things? In the film, if they wanted water, they had to go down to the well, or they had to, they go out of the safe zone, they have to always be aware for potential dangers. There are no well-paved sidewalks. See, these are conveniences that we essentially take for granted. And so if we continue to give our self-reliance away for the sake of convenience, that ability to be self-reliant begins to atrophy. We don't have to wash our dishes anymore because we have a dishwasher. We don't have to wash our clothes anymore because, we have a washing machine. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's a healthy sign of innovation, of societal progress. But it almost gets to a Tower of Babel moment, right? Where we're at a point to where we're all up in everybody's business. We know exactly what anybody's doing at any given point anywhere in the world. And I don't think that's necessarily how humanity has been functioning. We know our family, we know our community, a few people here and there, 50 people maybe most, our neighbors, call it a day. And so not only are we bombarded with a crazy amount of information due to this technological progress, but it brings in that level of convenience. We don't have to use a calculator anymore. We don't have to do mathematical equations in our minds anymore because we have a calculator. Therefore, that ability to solve these equations in our mind begins to atrophy. And we can see that now with artificial intelligence, with the ability to create intuitively. We just ask ChatGPT or whatever AI to generate a picture of what we want, and there it is. And so I wonder if that ability is also going to atrophy over time. If you look on social media, on X, there's a post or something that kind of baffles people. They don't ask questions among themselves. They ask Grok or Perplexity what the answer is. Because it's convenient, right? We don't have to think about it. We don't have to talk to other people and figure out what their point of view is. We can just go directly to a credible source and get the information for us. Trust the experts, right? And so a lot of the downside of this over-reliance on convenience is a lack of reliance on oneself. I notice that in my life. I don't go out and hunt. I don't take a bow and arrow out in my backyard and hunt squirrels or rabbits. I go to the grocery store and I get a package of a red blob that says the words ground beef on it. So I buy that, and that's my food. Or I go in a drive-through line and I give somebody some money and they give me my product. And so let's say something were to happen. Would you be able to go out and till the land, hunt your food? Most people probably not. There's no real level of preparation. I'm not saying that we have to start becoming preppers right now, but if there's an issue that I have, if there's a problem that I don't really know how to do, I'm trying to fix something, I always go to YouTube. But what if YouTube isn't there? One of the best ways to gain resiliency, self-reliance, is to remove a lot of the distractions that are preventing you from thinking about this stuff. I know it did for me. If I was smoking a whole bunch of weed, I'd be in a haze, an unproductive haze. Some decent insight, but not a whole lot of action. If I'm in a lustful state of mind, I'm always looking at women, right? I'm always looking to see who's interested. And that doesn't really serve a whole lot of purpose. So I would recommend that if you're facing any type of a distraction, a reliance on something externally that you have control to take back from, I would go ahead and make the moves. If, let's say, the caca hits the fan, right, and you're a full-blown alcoholic, and you're trying to protect yourself, you're trying to protect your family, your community, but in the back of your mind, you're still thinking, hey man, I gotta get a drink. And so that energy, that focus, that attention that you could funnel into being productive, saving others, saving yourself, there's always a part of you that's still there, like, oh, when's my next thing? When's the next? And that distraction could trip you up. See, it's always best to be prepared, not hoping that something happens, but be ready for the moment. And for me, one of the biggest things of being in the moment, being ready, is removing all of these distractions. Removing a lot of the conveniences in my life. Now, I'm not saying go flog yourself. I'm not saying that you need to suffer unintentionally, but having a level of tension within yourself, whether you're taking a cold shower in the morning, you're sleeping on a hard surface, you're doing your intermittent fasting, you're lifting heavy things, you're putting your body under tension, and that carries through. It's like a low hum that always sticks with you. So I'd recommend to do that, especially men in this day and age. I'll touch one more point on resiliency and convenience. And that the other danger seems to be that a lot of the convenience is centralized. There are only a certain amount of entities out there that have control over the conveniences. And so let's say you're deemed as a rebellious citizen or something, and they just flip a switch, a kill switch, and say, okay, well, you no longer have access to these conveniences. Are you able to be self-reliant? We're too comfortable. Now look back at Revolutionary War times, right? I'm not saying that this is a call to stand up, but see, people were uncomfortable. They were taxed. They were held down by the crown. And they were able, due to being self-reliant and not relying on the crown, to push them out and say, hey, look, we don't need you because we can do this stuff ourselves. Can you say that now? Can you go anywhere without your cell phone? I'm using the cell phone right now. I think pulling back on humanity as a whole, looking at the discovery of fire and how long ago that was, and all the different things that have come as a result. We no longer use our appendix because we can cook our meat. That's a good thing, right? A lot of people would think that. I know a lot of people are eating raw meat, but most people aren't. But it's also a tool of destruction. And think of the trajectory of humanity over the years, over the millennia, due to this discovery of fire. And another one that is much more recent that I think is just as impactful is the discovery and harnessing of electricity by Benjamin Franklin in the 1700s. And look at all of the inventions and innovations and conveniences that have come as a result of that. And we're in the middle of it, so we don't really have perspective to see what is good, what is bad. We can do that with fire, but we're right in the middle. We're right at the beginning of understanding the implications of electricity. Look at all of these inventions we have. Just something to consider. Thank you very much for watching. God bless, and may peace be with you.